Hi, I'm Apollonia. You may remember me from Purple Rain as leading lady to Prince, or from my band Apollonia 6. I've starred in films, TV shows, and I've been on the cover of magazines all over the world, including Playboy. I was also an LA Rams cheerleader. I'm going to take you with me. Welcome to my podcast, Apollonia Studio 6. Hi, I'm Apollonia Kotero, and welcome to my podcast, Apollonia Studio 6. And to my right is my co-host, Mr. Seth. What's happening, Mr. Seth?
Today, this is a little thank you for our followers and for making our podcast so far a successful venture.
Yes.
We are in our mid-season, and we're going to do a little mid-season recap of our first 8 episodes of Apollonia Studio 6 and give you some thoughts and some anecdotes and all those kind of nice things. So, go
ahead and start.
Why don't we get started? All right. So, I think we need to start with our lovely sister. She still has the most views thus far of her interview.
Yeah.
Miss Jill Jones.
Wow, that was something else. She was amazing. That interview, everybody went crazy. Thank you so much. But as we all know, Jill just tells it like it is. And she's always very forward with the truth. And if you don't like it, she's there to remind you and set you straight.
Yep. It was the most fitting, probably first guest we could have, because if it wasn't for Jill, we probably wouldn't be sitting here together. So she was purposely the first guest that we wanted to have on our podcast, and Jill just, she set the tone, I think, for everybody else, because it was really like, it wasn't an interview, it was a conversation. It was a visit. It was like if she was visiting us in our home.
Yeah, when we get together.
And the kind of stuff we'd be talking about, sitting around the table, eating and having some drinks and just having a good time. So Jill was unbelievable. And you guys are already asking for her to come back. So we're going to have her come back soon.
Yes. She'd be just so awesome.
What was your favorite part about Jill's interview?
Well, I was just going to say that, for me, to have been able to first meet her, nearly going almost 40 years ago, in Minnesota on set, and then she was to stay in character. Al Magnoli, our director, made sure that, beat me to Apollonia, and, all the girls were just catty and everything. And I wanted her to like me so bad because I loved her, everything about her. I was already listening to her demos that, that when she was recording with Prince, he was listening to Jill, and I was like, oh my God. And then fast forward to, when we lost Denise. Denise Matthews, Vanity. I get a phone call from Jill, and she says that she's going to go to the memorial when Vanity passed away. This is 2016, I believe, February 15th. And it was just a horrible, situation, and shocking for many of us to lose our sister. So Jill says, I'm going to go out there, and you want to come with? And I said, let me think about this, and we were all so depressed and devastated. And I said, well, you know what? I'll go. Why don't we fly? And then she says, well, no. Instead of flying, she goes, let's drive. And I was like, that's a long drive. She says, well, my brother Seth, and then, my cousin is going to join us, and we're just going to drive. It's a beautiful drive. And I was like, you know what? Okay. I remember she was like, okay. And I go, yeah, let's just drive.
Let's do it.
So then, we get ready. I pack my suitcase. And then the following day, I meet the most charming gentleman, the most beautiful smile, really energetic. He was just bouncing around. He grabbed my suitcase, and it was Seth. And we didn't even leave. We just stood there in the car, just yakety yakking. Weedy, 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 like we say in Spanish, and the next thing, what happens?
Yeah. So, Jill called and
Yeah.
she screamed at us, "Where are you?" And, it was, but it was the beginning of a great kinship. I won't even say friendship. It was kinship, and it was a great thing, and it was great, like I said, to have her here, because many of the stories that she told, I knew those stories. That's why I knew the questions to ask. But hearing them was just like hearing them for the first time. And when she told the story about playing keyboards behind Vanity 6,
That's what I was thinking.
that was the most hilarious story. One more funny 1999 story. Tell us a story about when Jam and Lewis got fired and you ended up doing the time concert.
No.
It was horrible. That was like Vanity 6 needed to go on stage.
Yeah.
And there was a snowstorm. And, we had a few days off. So, it was like, okay, where's Jimmy and Terry?
Yeah.
We're backstage. We all had our sound checks. Like, where are they?
Yeah.
And they're like, they didn't make it. They're not here.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, oh my God. And it was just like you could hear it. It was the silence backstage that you didn't want to fuck around with. You just didn't want to say anything. You didn't want your shoes to make a sound.
Yeah.
It was just that tense, right? Yeah. And Prince looks over at me at one point and goes, "You stood by Jimmy Jam all that time on tour. You know his parts?" Because I had taken piano myself, but taking piano lessons and playing a freaking concert are two different things.
Oh, man. I don't even know what to say.
It was kind of like, and I rose to the occasion, almost like, I speak jive. I'll do it. Like, I can do it. And that's what was funny about me and Prince. It was kind of like, I can do it. Yes, we'll do it. So Vanity's not convinced. She's like, what? Now the rest of the band is there.
Right.
Well, who else is going to be playing the keyboard? Don't worry about it. Prince jumps over on he's going to play over, he had the bass or something. And
I can see all this.
And there we are. And I don't know what notes I was hitting when Nasty Girl came on. It was like, Prince is playing the bass, and then he's like trying to run around and decide to play the keyboards, to do what. It was the most absurd. I think the stress of that and going through that whole gig was probably why he sacked him. Because we were behind a curtain too. So there's all of us looking at each other. Jesse's looking, everybody's doing all this. Everybody's trying to do more than their job was. It was the most stressful situation ever. And Prince is like, I thought you said you knew the part.
Poor thing. Was this ever filmed?
I think, Prince filmed every night.
So it's probably at the vault.
But they don't have us behind. If somebody
behind
ever
the
had us
pink-
behind the
pink
stage,
screen.
Oh.
it would have been incredible. But it was, I think, everybody was sweating like bullets. Steve Farnoli was like running back from the sound. We had they should have just played the record. I do not know why. They did not.
Play the record.
I didn't know about
it was
this.
horrendous. And he's like, I thought you knew what you're... nervous. I was like, I'm nervous.
Could you imagine?
I was like, Nasty Girl.
It's the pun.
Ridiculous.
It's the
I
angry
couldn't
pun
wait for
version.
Nasty Girl to be over. That was the last part song because Bite the Beat and all that. That was okay. But the other shit, I was like, this is funky stuff. The Jimmy Jam? No, Jimmy Jam.
But you did it.
was.
But you did it. You actually went there and did
And
it.
it's a blur how we got through it. I know that Monty was doing the best he could to pick up everything, all the bad everything. It was really bad. It's a blur.
Funny enough, I was watching, it was something on Instagram, and I had the funniest moment because they showed the scene from Airplane from the 70s.
Oh, yeah.
And remember when the two African American men were talking and Barbara Billingsley?
About jive talking?
Yeah, and Barbara Billingsley said, I speak jive.
Right.
I just fell
Right.
out because Jill was the first person I thought about when she said that.
That's right. Oh, man.
So,
Too been a fly on the wall.
yeah. So, Jill will always be our number one. And,
Our mascot.
yes, she'll always be our number one. Always our number one.
We love you, Jill.
Yes.
So episode number 2
Yes.
is...
Well, actually, he's guest number 2. Episode number 4, but guest number 2 was DJ Vlad.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
And I think probably so far he might have been the most controversial guest that we had on as far as the fans.
Right.
But many fans understood that you had just done Vlad TV and did an interview that has probably been seen about 1 million times now.
He's a pretty big influencer, and I mean the fact that he invited me to do a show was I was excited, but at the same time I was really nervous because of the content of his site. You know, it's very there's a lot of crime and just interesting topics.
Hardcore stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting,
Hardcore.
right? Tell me a little bit about culture vulture. What does that mean?
Yeah,
And,
I mean,
what
I
is
get the
DJ Vulch?
DJ Vulch.
What is that?
I don't know. Probably some nicknames someone came up
Nicknames?
with.
I have nicknames too.
Yeah, I mean, culture vulture is, I guess, a term that popped up a few years back. I guess someone who people feel take from hip hop and don't give back or aren't really part of the culture and just try to, try to milk it or, basically be a vulture and, eat off the carcass of it and so forth. Obviously there's a racial element to it, being white in a predominantly black art form. You're going to get that, whether it's me or,
Right.
Steve Rifkin, who started Loud Records and,
Right.
signed Wu-Tang.
I've gotten it.
Yeah.
Or
Or Leor Cohen, who used to be the president of Def Jam and, started 300 and, I think the head of
Right.
YouTube music now, like Joey IE. Like the list goes on and on about white guys who are called culture vultures in the art form.
I never heard that.
Yeah, I think anyone who knows my background and knows my story of, in terms of my involvement with hip hop since elementary school, would probably change their mind a little bit. But then again, it just is what it is. It comes to the territory.
Right.
I don't take it too seriously.
Yeah.
Well, I have to disagree, that people have said that to you because I want to, touch on my interview in a little bit near the end because you made me feel so comfortable and it was just like a super classy interview.
Thank you. And it's still like that interview, like the full interview, because we release it with clips in the beginning, but the full interview, and I've been checking, is still like a trending top interview on our YouTube channel. Like it's still
Really?
getting I don't know, 30, 40,000 views a day consistently.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
Thanks for watching.
People are still watching. So I assume that people have been reaching out and kind of
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, they have.
Yeah, because I know when an interview does well and when it doesn't. I think like this one in particular, a lot of times when I interview, because we're really kind of at our core a hip hop channel. So when I interview people outside of hip hop, I have to let sort of YouTube do its job and let like their fans or the fans of someone associated with them, like a Prince, sort of find that interview later on. So initially it may not do massive numbers, but as the Apollonia fans and the Prince fans and the the Rick James fans and all the other topics that, the Dave Chappelle fans or whoever else like finally finds it, that's when it starts to kind of take off over time, and over time millions of people watch it.
Since we're on it, I did the interview and you made me feel comfortable. There was this transparency. And I know we were talking about it before we got started on this show. And I remember thinking, as an actor, you do your scene, you hit your marks, and, they yell, cut. And then you forget what you did.
Yeah.
Your director's like, I was in the moment. And I felt that with you because of the way that you were so kind and the questions, you did your research. You asked about my family, and it was just like, and that's the very first time that I really opened up in an interview. I'm going to get choked up again. Talked about, Prince, losing Prince, almost losing myself in that process. My mother was dying when Prince, transitioned, and then I couldn't tell her. So all these questions that you had, I was so open, for the first time in many years. I learned from Prince to be mysterious, not to give interviews. I was the one that went out.
He never did interviews, right?
Well, he did a few.
No, yeah, you're right. I saw. Yeah, I think I remember later on. I think he did a few, but very few.
For like 84, he had me going out doing all of his interviews, so which was wonderful for me because he trusted that I knew how to, drop his pearls of wisdom for his purple public. But thank you again for having me on your show. It was enlightening. I learned so much about myself, that it's time for me to speak about my life and Prince and my family. And it was you that enabled me to do that. You kind of like, you just took me by the hand that day. And Seth, you were there. And thank you so much. Thank you.
It was an honor. I think
you.
It's a very important story.
And while we're at it, you interviewed Morris Day, my brother.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
I mean, I was a big fan.
Yeah.
Jungle Love had been my jam like forever. And just this whole kind of like persona with like the mirror, and, the suits and, the hair and everything else like that. And he just kind of came solo. I think originally we had it planned this one date, and then he got like really, really sick. This is like pre-COVID, I believe. He got really, really sick, but then, we rescheduled, and we came in, and, just a very dope story. And I feel like Morris didn't really hold back. He called Prince cheap. He talked about the money problems.
Yeah.
He talked about how him and Prince stopped rocking with each other, and, how he didn't really... when Prince got more religious, he wasn't really, he didn't want to go along on that journey. And, it was like, a lot of times when someone passes away, a lot of people feel like, all their imperfections just are gone and they're this perfect human being. Yeah. And, and that's just not reality. Yeah. So it's nice to really speak to someone who really keeps it 100 and talks about someone, their good side and their bad side. Yeah. Just like we all have. Yeah. But that was a great interview. I'm glad he came in and did that.
Mr. Morris Day. So I thought, okay, and what exactly will he ask? So, I asked, well, what are your questions? And I get there, and I asked Seth, and then we brought my security detail, and which was not necessary, but we just felt comfortable, right? We didn't know what to expect. And we get there, and we meet the most charming, sweetest, kindest gentleman. Absolutely just so wonderful. He made me feel safe. I sat there, and for the first time, when you really think, this is the first time that I've ever given such an in-depth interview in my entire career. Even going back from the 80s when I was doing press on behalf of Prince, promoting the film and our music. I've done other interviews, Associated Press, Rolling Stone. But this was the first time I've done a on-camera interview. And he asked some pretty heavy questions. And man, I was like, here's my spleen. You know, here's my anxiety and here's my depression, you know. So it was just, woo. And I was amazed at the research he did.
Yeah.
And because of Vlad, when we have guests here now, it's like we bust our asses researching. And it's not just Wikipedia, but you're like, I'm, you know, looking at books and trying to, you know, research my friends. These are my friends because of Vlad, you know, because his questions were just incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what I loved about the interview with Vlad was how honest and telling he was when he was here. You know, for him being on the other side of the camera.
Right.
And for him being so open and
No, right. And I remember we were like sitting there and talked about, you know, it's finally, you know, we start winding down the interview. And I asked him on camera, you know, to be on my podcast, and he said yes. And I was like, oh, he's just saying that. But we booked him.
Yeah, he showed up. We called him and he showed up.
Yeah.
So that was stand up. That was a real stand up. So.
Absolute gentleman, so knowledgeable. His friendships, the way that he runs his business, and I love how he keeps his private life private.
And you can say whatever you want to say about him, but you can't say that he was a failure. So he has succeeded in this world of the internet and blogs and interviews, and he's one of the most influential. So yeah.
Vlad TV podcast.
Yeah.
We love you, Vlad.
All right. So our next episode was our brother Andre Simone.
We love Andre.
Yes.
That one, I was very nervous because, I don't know, just not that, you know, a 3 days before, Seth comes up with a brilliant idea, as he always does. He's at my place, we're working, prepping, having a production meeting, the two of us. Says, hey, why don't you guys do a song? You know what would be cute? It'd be really cute if you guys would take me with you. And I was like, you know, and of course, you know, I was just like, somebody bring me some Pepto-Bismol because I need some Depends here because that really scares the heck out of me. As Howard's sitting there laughing. So Seth came up with that idea. At that same moment,
Yep.
Andre's beautiful wife, Catherine, sends me a text. Hey, wouldn't it be sweet and cute if you guys sang Take Me With You?
Yeah.
That was like in a span of like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So I was like, Mr. Prince talks again, right?
Yeah.
So I lost a lot of sleep that night. I think I only got 2 hours, but I came in here all chipper. And thanks to this gentleman, we did Take Me With You, a short version of it. I didn't cry. You know, I was real happy after we did it. And I didn't think about it. That was it. Because if I would have been in my head thinking, I would have never been able to. It would have been a puddle of, like, you know, mucus.
Well, Andre was his interview was funny. There were poignant moments. There was everything, and someone else that I really appreciated his honesty and his openness, and coming and talking with us. But you know, it's like, just like Jill, it's like, you know, you're sitting talking to your family members. You're sitting having a conversation. This is a visit. You know, this isn't an interview. This is a visit. Yeah,
this is someone whose house that we go to, and, you know, they cook for us. We have, you know, food, and we know their children, and we go out to restaurants together. I go see their children's musical plays. Of course, they do musicals. Andre's kids are doing, I mean, they're just exceptional children.
Yeah.
This is our family.
Yeah.
I have one
Go ahead.
last question. Where were you when you heard the news about Prince?
I was at home, and the crazy thing was, you know, because I'm a news junkie, and I was watching the news, and I couldn't take it anymore. You know, the Donald Trump stuff was getting on I couldn't, you know, I just felt like the media was trying to elect this guy. And I remember posting on Facebook, yeah, I think it was either Facebook or Twitter. I don't know if Twitter was really as much a thing as it, became, but I remember saying, I'm sick of this. I'm not watching TV anymore on that day, right? And so I shut it off, and I started watching Alfie. Yeah, Michael Caine. Started watching Alfie, and there was a knock at my door, and I looked, because it's like, nobody really knows where I live, and I'm a very,
I do.
quiet. Yeah,
We do.
I'm a very quiet person, and I'm not, and so people knocking on my door unexpected is sort of rare. So I looked out, and I was like, yeah. They said, "Do you have anything to say?"
Oh,
I was like,
Jesus.
"What are you talking about?" And I just said, "Go get," I said a few things and told him, get the, and so, and then, and shut my, and I thought, that's weird. What are they talking about? Then I got a phone call from a friend of mine that said something about somebody found, deceased at Paisley Park. And they were saying, it ain't. I said, Prince? He said, no, it can't be Prince. He said, Prince would, I think he said something like, Prince would kill somebody else before he would allow somebody, something crazy like that. And I was like, and then I hung up, and and then I got another phone call from him again. He said, they're saying that it's Prince. And I was like, and then then I got the knock at the door again, and they were saying, what do you think? Do you believe it? Is it true? Is it, I'm like, and then I realized, oh my God, that can't be. And then I was in a total state of denial. Then I started making phone calls, and eventually got to people that I knew would know. And then it was like, and then I was just, I didn't even know what to, because I was teaching kids at my kids' grade school. And which was interesting because it really didn't hit me, which is odd. But it didn't hit me until, because I had to, get myself together and go to my kids' grade school and teach, the kids. I would, I was teaching, I was playing guitar, and they would sing songs, and I was trying to teach them how to write music. And one of the kids said, I heard your best friend died.
Oh.
And I just was like, I didn't even know what to say. I was like, and I mean, after the kid said that, the principal came and just gave me a big hug. And I just melted. I mean, I just melted in her arms. And that's, and that's it. And, and then I spoke with his sister and his brother and the family. And I just, I still, I honestly still in a little bit of denial. I mean, only because, I knew this guy. This is my best friend, literally. I mean, I've never really, have had another best friend like that. And that was kind of it. And so all the different things you think about, that you clown about, that you joke about, and you talk about, we used to talk about Elvis, because we both used to be Elvis fans, and we'd say Elvis isn't dead. Elvis is somewhere eating a pizza. And so I was thinking, part of me was thinking, Prince is somewhere eating a pizza. No, he didn't eat pizza. So I would go round and round, and but yeah, no, it's just, I mean, it still breaks my heart, because obviously it's way too soon, because obviously he, in my opinion, had so much more to give. Artistically, musically, spiritually, mentally. I always thought we would reconnect. Because we always pushed each other. We always pushed each other. And I know he would have. The music that I make. He would have had a lot to say about it. And obviously he would have. If we would ever become, kind of friends we were again, it would have been interesting to see what we came up with, and, and all the different things. I mean, I always, I don't have too many regrets. I don't believe in living in regrets, but one of the few things that I regret is us not really coming back together and being the kind of friends we were, because we really, I think I would have, pushed each other in, those days where, you really need somebody
Yeah.
that is not going to just tell you what you want to hear,
Yeah.
but, they're going to tell you what you need to hear.
Just say yes,
And,
right?
yeah,
Just
yeah.
say yes
And,
to you.
I was always, I was always that to him. He was always that to me. And we were always that to each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry for your loss.
It's all our losses.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for you.
And then our next guest was the actress Rashiya Whitlock.
Yes. Fabulous.
Yes, Rashiya. Rashiya is somebody that I've known for a little while now, and I knew that her and Apollonia would hit it off, and they did, and just having her here was just a joy. She's just spunky.
She's spunky.
And
She's
driven.
like just this like beam. There's like this energy about her, and just so beautiful. Her spirit, and that smile, and then her skin was just like, at one point it was like, stop staring just right, because I started to not focus on what she was saying, right? I was just like, what'd she say? Because I was just, her skin was flawless, and I was like, what kind of skincare does she use? And I got to get hooked up with those skincare products before, maybe she could text me what she's using, and is she using facial masks? Is it paper? And then all of a sudden there's a question there, and I'm like, oh. But
Yeah.
just adorable and just so funny, and just really, she's really highly intelligent little girl.
Highly intelligent, and it's really interesting because I think she's done a lot of living already. With secret marriages and things that went on like that, and coming through things like that, and stalker, and so I think she really was an unexpected interview for us, but I think it was a great interview for us, and it was one of those I think one of those moments where we are showing our audience that we want to be diverse.
So at that time, I felt myself, I don't want to say losing it, but I was really trying to hold it together, because it was so much happening. The stalker part really, really scared me. It was to a point where I didn't know if I wanted to stay at my house. I didn't know if I was safe. I'm like, I thought this restraining order was supposed to protect me.
Right.
But
they
don't. It didn't. It did not. Sending things to the theater where I'm doing the play. So, they're getting concerned. It was just, and then I didn't even have proper time to grieve, and I thought, and maybe, you guys have been there where you think you're Superwoman. I can handle this. I don't need to stop. I can keep going. And then, as you know, I was in a marriage at the time as well. So I'm like, when you're married to a public figure, it's a whole different thing. And when you're working very hard to keep it private as well, and as you know, this was my second one. First to a professional athlete, then dated a rapper, then, dated someone else, and then married another rapper. So I'm also in that at the time as well. So then...
and trying to keep it
together
under wraps.
Trying to keep it private.
Under wraps.
Wow.
Trying to keep it private.
I don't know how you were able to do that.
It was trying to keep it private where, you have a husband who, what did we call him the other day? Instagram Magic Mike. He likes to be, he's interesting. So you're trying to keep it private. You both agreed to keep it private.
Right.
But it's getting harder and harder and harder. And then you realize you want out, and it's not that the other person is a bad person. It's just that this isn't working.
Right.
We've dated on and off since 2017. But marriage is a whole different ball game. Right. And I don't think either of us realized that. And I think, I don't want to say I blame myself, but I had to realize just because I want out, it's not necessarily fair to the other person.
Right.
Because this is his first marriage. This is my second, you know.
Right.
And I don't regret it being my second, but I wanted out at the time. So I had just lost my sister. I'm dealing with a stalker situation. I have a play going on, and I'm in a marriage that I'm trying to get out of. The other person, doesn't want out. And then
Can I ask how long it lasted?
it just got finalized actually. So
Wow.
it lasted, it just got finalized this week actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
So
I don't know whether to say, are you happy or do we congratulate you? Or
he and I will always remain friends. And I think what I've learned, and this is just the adventurous side of me, like I said, I've eloped twice. I do not regret it at all because at the moment it's what I wanted to do and it's what they wanted to do. But when you get in something and you realize this isn't going to work out, I think you should respect each other enough to
Right.
care enough about the other individual to say, listen, we were friends first.
Right.
Let's save our friendship before
true.
it turns into
yeah, you want to be your best self for each other.
And you can't do that. And honestly, I felt like in his defense, I was going through so much, and this was just June, I was going through so much that when you're barely holding on yourself,
Yep.
you don't have much of you to give
That's right.
to another person. And then I had Introducing Jodea get ready to come out, came out in theaters June 4th. So I'm also trying to keep it together because I know
For your work.
contract. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
contracted
How do you
to do
focus on
press for
work
this.
and look your
Right.
best, feel your best,
And I have all these things going on.
retain, your dialogue, and then
Right. Well, the movie, we had already shot it, but it was coming out. And as you know, when you sign on to do a movie, you got to do press.
Many people are going to. I've even seen comments where it's like, "Well, I thought this was a Prince show. I thought this was a Prince show," and it's
Right.
like, no, Prince is a big part of it.
Right. He's my inspiration, of course.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's not just a Prince show.
Right.
So we're going to have other people from other walks of life that we know and
Right.
that, and that we're going to probably meet for the first time. And
True, yeah. There's a
things
lot
like
of them
that.
are friends of friends,
Yes.
know. We've gone out to events
Yeah.
and we meet, we're like a fan of so-and-so. We're like, oh, there she is.
Yeah.
Oh, no, don't look. Oh, here she comes.
Yeah.
Then we make friends,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, it's like, what are you doing, Apollonia? I'm like, well, I have a podcast. Would you please come on?
Yeah.
And they say yes. And it's just, the scheduling that's difficult to bring our friends on. But it's sort of like, it's like what we do when you come to my place, right? And, our friends come over. We've had a pandemic for 2 years plus. And Seth and I always say, we're so-and-so. We haven't seen, this person. We haven't seen that person. And now being here, it's just really helping us to get together with our friends again and then to make new friends and to sit down and talk. I mean, the only thing we need here is like food.
Yeah.
I always do charcuterie, with cheese and our salamis, and we sit around and talk story.
Yeah.
And this show has enabled us to do so. And yes, we're going to do, Prince. We call them the purple people. That's what Seth and I would say, the purple. Well, what purple person is available?
Our purple family.
Right. But how many purple people are there?
Right.
And there's more days, that, God willing, in our lives, to do the show. So, and then not all purple people get along. And that's another, the political aspects behind, well, if we invite this person, we can't have that other person on that, just, so we don't want to do stuff like that. We just want to make it easy for everybody and just have a great time like we have been having. Like, we filmed today 2 episodes and they were great. We can't say who they were.
Yeah.
They're both 2 females and man, what a blast.
Yeah.
What a blast. And, for both of us, I always learn something.
Yeah.
Not just about my friends, like, oh, I didn't know she could do that, but I always learn something in general.
Yeah.
You know, about their field, and yes, you're right. Not just having, a Prince guest, but artists, painters,
Yeah.
music industry executives,
Yeah.
everybody that creates magic.
Yeah. And trust me, we will have plenty of Prince guests. As a matter of fact, one of the interviews we did today, someone just commented on either YouTube or Instagram and said, you should have blankety blank on.
Right.
And little did they know we already had that person scheduled. So you'll be happy in the coming days.
That's funny that you say that. And once on Instagram, I don't know, I forget who it was. They were like, why don't you have Prince on?
Okay.
And he's right there.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why we have him on.
He's on every episode.
Yeah.
So then the next episode was fan mail.
Right.
And, honestly, I didn't think we were going to be doing a fan mail episode so quickly. But there were so many questions and so much that we were able to do it. And it really is one of the most popular episodes.
Right. So, got to get more questions.
Yep. And we revealed the beautiful, I call it the slave dress with chains.
Yes, the beautiful one.
Yeah. And
the little mannequin with their hand.
We revealed that. And Purple Rain costuming has been a running theme.
Yes.
In the questions we have gotten. And two of the people out of probably, a few that have asked about Purple Rain costuming. Two of them were Allison S. from Ringwood, New Jersey, and Sherry Moffat. Allison asked, and the questions are quite similar, so I'm going to ask them together. Allison asked, I've always wanted to know, where did Apollonia get her long red earring? And the one black glove with the red sequins she wears in the movie. You still have the red black glove, because I've seen it.
And the earrings.
And the earring. I would love her to share her fashion influences. And does she still have the gold hoop that Prince gave her and swapped with her during the scene where she buys him the guitar?
Yes, I still have the gold hoop that was given to Prince. The original gold hoop that I have was given to Prince by his mother, Maddie Bacchio, and he gave it to me. So I have it. I still have the red earring. I have a few items, costumes. And what was the rest of the...
And you have the red glove. You have the black glove with the red sequins.
Yes, I have that. Yes.
It'll make an appearance one day on the set. And then Sherry asked, do you still own any of the clothes, jewelry from Purple Rain? I remember the earring, the long red one.
Right, I have that, yes.
On one ear. I actually bought a similar pair back in the day. The other side is a black rose. I absolutely love them and still have them. So we have a surprise for our Apollonia Studio 6 family, and this is going to be something that is going to become kind of a running theme on our show and our set. Our set is going to kind of take a life of its own.
Little Easter eggs.
Little Easter eggs as our episodes go on, as the set and the shows go on and get bigger. We're going to do some great things with you guys and for you guys. And as a fan, I'm just ecstatic.
I know. I've taken Seth to, I have storage in 2 different states. So he just saw some of my items and he was so happy. He was all excited. I'm like, what, this and this? And just a bunch of fun stuff.
Yes.
For myself and other people.
So, since so many of the fams have asked about some of the legendary costumes from Purple Rain.
I brought something for all of you to look at. And should we show it first, or are we going to talk about it first?
I think we should show it first, and then you should give the history of it.
Okay.
Okay.
So we
Let's
get up here.
do it.
All right, here we go.
Here we go.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. Look at her.
This is an outfit that I wore in the film, designed by Miss Marie France. Okay. Alrighty. Now, the story of this dress is that this dress was originally designed for the film Purple Rain, but for Denise Matthews, for her physique. I'm heavy on top, and she is, bigger hips than I have. So to accentuate her chest, it was done in a cut to bring in, some attention to the neckline. And it's cut really low in the back because she was very curvy. So when I came around, it was the only outfit that had been designed for her. And, Prince said, "This is for you now." There was no alterations. I just put it on, it fit. And, we had the black gloves and the chains, very S&M. This is a scene that he is singing Darling Nikki, and I'm sitting with Morris, and I feel offended, and I run out of the club, First Avenue, and just running out. Nothing was taped. There was no accidents. Everything worked out. But this is the dress that was originally designed for Denise Matthews, Vanity. And same hairstyle, same gloves. Those are the chains made by Marie France. And there she is, just for you. She's been in storage, and there's more to come.
More to come. I've seen some of it. You're going to die.
We hope you like it, and stay tuned for more episodes. Please remember to subscribe.
Yes.
Please send comments.
Yes.
Your questions. And then for Mr. Seth, if there's any other 10 questions you want to, if they have ideas.
Yeah.
Names for his 10 questions. What was
Yeah.
the name that we had from Mr. Matisse? Mr. Matisse Simone?
Sessions.
That's a cute one.
And there are going to be more reveals.
Yes.
As time goes on, with wardrobe and just special things. But fan mail just turned out to really be, for me, it was a shock. I was like, well, wow.
Yeah, and the questions too. I mean, there were some questions that, of course, they were like when somebody asked if David Lee Roth, if I thought he was a good lover, and I was like, yeah. It was like he read it and he was like, I don't think you want to answer that. I go, I'll answer that. Yes, he was like huge, great lover. But there's they were asking some other questions that we just couldn't really about other collaborators and why don't you have so and so on, if like what, so we could like WWF, so I could beat their asses or something like that. We don't want that. This is a peaceful, loving show. This is a family show. So at some point, we have to bring in many collaborators. But some of those questions were very funny. Yeah. I enjoyed them. I didn't know what they were, of course, because they're random, impromptu at that moment. There was a couple there that I had to look away. I didn't want to look at him because I was going to start laughing because I was already thinking about the answers, which I didn't want to, answer them. So
yeah.
But we encourage you, please send more fam questions.
Yeah.
Please ask anything you want. Doesn't mean we'll answer them all, but I promise to answer most of them.
Yes. Fams@ApolloniaKotero.com. Or put it on our YouTube channel, Apollonia Studio 6, or Instagram at Apollonia Studio 6. So fan mail turned out to be a really unexpected, but great thing. And the funny thing is that we went live a few weeks ago on YouTube, and our initial vision was we were going to do this. We were going to do the recap of the first half of season 1, but so many questions came through that it ended up being an hour of fan mail part 2, basically.
Yep.
And answering more questions. And so we're going to continue to do that. We really enjoy what we're doing. We love that you're enjoying what we're doing, and I can honestly say that. I mean, I have people all the time, when's the next episode, who's going to be the next guest,
right?
So we're doing something good here, so we're going to keep doing it.
Yeah, we're passionate about it.
We're
creating this just ourselves, just the two of us.
Yep.
And it's just it's actually so shocking and exciting. I mean, to know that we produce, we edit, direct, and we have a great team. We have Howard here on camera, and we have our sweet sound man,
Gerardo,
and our team, Mark and Samantha, Tati, just really wonderful people, and just the fact that we're able to do this, Dakota, and have so much fun, and it's it's a lot of work. But then nothing great comes easy, right? I mean, I love getting up and, I know Seth's coming over and he brings the computer and we start editing, and I wouldn't be able to do this without Seth because he's like, does it all. He does it all. He's like laughing, that was sarcastic, right? He was like, bitch.
No.
He works too hard. Too hard. I am so grateful for this man because without him, seriously, producing, and it's great because he's hands-on and edit, we put, the social media, but it's exciting. And the fun thing is that when we finish at the end of the day, it's a good tired. We always go to one of our favorite restaurants, and then we recap, we look at the photos, we shoot photos on set, and it's just this incredible experience that we're having together that we've created, and then knowing that our guests are having fun.
Yeah. And one thing that I love is the fact that, this was something that we just did it.
Yeah.
We did it.
Yeah.
And there's a false start or two.
Yeah.
But
a couple times.
But we just did it. And it was like, okay, well, this didn't work out. Okay, well, that didn't work out. Well, screw it.
Yep. Trial and error.
Let's just do it.
Remember the first night we went out after doing the first show, we just looked at each other. We were exhausted because, of course I didn't sleep. And that's all you said, because we just did it. We were like looking at each other in disbelief. We did it.
Yeah.
And then he said it. And then I said it. We did it. And then we tore into our dinner.
Yeah,
right?
Sure did. So, our last guest before our mid-season break was the adorable, unbelievable Amanda Witt.
Yes.
We love Amanda.
Miss Amanda.
We love her.
My little sister. I adore her. I've known her for, maybe, going on 40 years. I met her a little after Purple Rain. I did a movie, Black Magic Woman. And, I get to meet her and work with, Mark Hamill from Star Wars. I was like, OMG. And, her accolades are just remarkable.
Yeah.
And we're still the best of friends. Absolutely adore her. I remember once visiting her she had an apartment in Hollywood, right down by Beechwood. That's where, all the actors live. And I go visit and hang out. And she was, really inspired me because she, all of a sudden she had a drill in her hand. She's like, hold on a second. She's like, drilling, and she's moving this lamp, this little thing, fragile little thing. She was changing her lamps and everything, and then with a sander, and I don't know. And then I would sit and talk to her, and she's one of the most intelligent women I have ever met. She is very profound. She's very deep, psychologically highly intelligent, high IQ. And I know that she's like my go-to. If there's something, and then I walk away, I'm like, why didn't I think of that? It was right in my face, But that's, my little Amanda. Her movie credits.
Unbelievable. Stellar. I mean, she has been in some of the greatest movies as well. Worked with some of the greatest actors and actresses, and
he's still working all the time.
Still working all the time.
Always.
And that is what's rare about this business, about Hollywood. She continues to work.
I get an audition for Nightmare on Elm Street, and I'd never really even seen a horror film. So, I mean, I'd seen a couple old black and whites like Dracula and some late night, whatever.
Night of the Living Dead.
I don't even think I saw that. Whatever they would play on Channel 11 late at night.
Yeah.
And then it would go Go to the fuzz.
Remember that?
Even though I'm 20, I remember that.
Yep.
So I get the script and I'm reading it, and it was really scary.
Yeah.
And I'd read a couple horror novels, and so
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this really reads like a good novel.
Yeah.
And at the time, my agents didn't want me to do it because
Okay.
they were like, if you do horror, that's the end of your career. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, I'm just going to go on the audition, because I want to go on the audition.
Yeah.
And so I read for the role of Nancy, which I did not get. Heather Langenkamp got. But then my callback, it was the 4 kids. It was me, Heather, Nick Corey, who's now Jesu, went back to his real name, Jesu Garcia, and Johnny Depp. And we just did an improv for him, and he told us in the room we had the part. Like, that never happens. Has that ever happened to
No.
you, like on an audition?
Never.
Me neither since. And so my agent still didn't want me to do it. And I was like, I think I want to do it. I just think it would be fun. And I was like, no one's going to see it. Who cares? No
See, the
one's going to
agents,
care
managers
if I do
and
this.
agents, single-handedly.
And then I wonder when I was with them, how many scripts I never got
Yep.
even, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Because they were like, pass. And I'm like, but anyway, and so then we did it. And now that movie, we're all still good friends. And because you've been around when Heather's around or
Right.
whatever. We're all still really good friends. So,
Wow.
and we had a great time doing that movie. Weird to say because it's such like murder and mayhem, but it was really, really fun.
That is. Go ahead.
I'm sorry,
What were you
go
about to say?
No, just go on.
No, you're
just
probably
say-
about to say the same thing I was about to say.
No, I was just going to say that they still get together when they do autograph signings. They go to signing events.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll
And-
go to like
yep.
Comic Cons or whatever. So we get to see each other many times of the year. And Robert and Steven, who's my guy, they like each other and send each other books and
Yeah.
plays and I don't know, talk stuff like that.
Well, I was going to say that because I'm a horror fan.
Yeah.
He, loves.
Well, see, the thing is what makes you iconic was that you were Freddy's number 1.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
The very first.
Victim.
The very first.
Victim. Yep.
Yes. I like to rephrase that as I'm the first person who fought Freddy.
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
Yes.
And then I became his victim.
Yes.
But yeah, when you look at that movie, really, I'm only in the movie 20 minutes, I think. And 14 of those minutes in and out of that dream, I'm fighting for my life.
You
And
are.
you don't realize that
Yep.
until you go back and go, because I have scenes where I'm still sitting there talking to people, but
Right.
they're only interspersed with me fighting for my life. And
Right.
it's like really interesting way to open a film and hook people
Yeah.
emotionally,
Yeah.
which is why I think people like that movie. Because
Yeah.
it's, you're like, oh, nobody's safe.
Yeah.
And I heard somebody on a panel once say that all good horror is intrinsically sad.
Yep.
And when you look at the ones that have withstood the test of time, if you took the horror out, there's still a good story, and it's
Yes.
and it gets you in the heart. I mean, then there's also slasher films that are just dice them up.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
mindless.
Right.
Yeah, and that there's people like that too.
Yeah.
But the ones that last, so I like that. And Nightmare is that way for a couple reasons. I think it was Wes's commentary also on that generation was the first generation of divorce,
Yeah.
of mass divorce in our country. So there was a lot of latchkey kids and kids with one parent
Yep.
and kids kind of fighting for their life, just in life, like, they weren't really being as well cared for as, say, kids from the 1950s.
Yeah.
Or even 60s.
Yeah.
And so I think there was that and that the innate animalistic nature of a human is to create a family. And the 4 of us kids created our own family because we didn't have one at home. So
Right.
I think like on so many levels, people are able to connect with that because most of us have had to forge our own families at
Right.
different times in our life. And,
Oh, that's true. What a
Yeah.
great insight. And then doing it with Johnny Depp.
yeah. Wait, who?
Yeah.
I know, right? Man. And after that, I guess he did what, 21 Jump Street after that?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. He did he might have done
He might
another
have-
movie or two
Yeah,
before, like
yeah.
Private School or
Yeah.
Ski School, or I don't know. And then he did 21 Jump Street, and he just, I is such a hard worker.
Yeah.
Like even then, he hadn't acted before, and he had a coach with him all the time, and like really, worked hard, like
Yeah.
wanted to learn everything about the camera and what it meant and how to use your props to help create more of your character and stuff.
Right.
Like he
Yeah.
really, really worked hard. And I've always thought that was amazing because, Robert had come from theater school. I'd come from theater school. So like I had that interest, and this was somebody that created that, for themselves, like
Yeah.
got a coach and did those things. And I think it for young people, I think people don't know that he worked that hard
Yeah.
at what he did, like,
Yeah.
and he really devoted his self and time to it.
When I tell you, I got so many texts, phone calls, DMs from people that were so excited that we were going to have Tina from Nightmare on Elm Street
That's so cool.
on our show. I mean, the horror fans, which I'm one of, the horror fans were so excited. Oh my God, you had Tina on. They were so excited. But I think it was also a great chance for people to realize that, yes, Tina's an iconic role. She was
Right.
the first one that fought Freddy.
Right.
But Amanda's done so much. And to get exposed to all the other great stuff she's done.
Yep.
Hopefully through the episode, but also paying homage to Nightmare on Elm Street and Fast Times at Ridgemont High and all those great
Silverado.
iconic Silverado, all those
man.
iconic songs,
Yeah, just
songs, movies
movies.
that she did. It was just like it was great. It was great having her on, and just
all
love me some Amanda.
all the people she's worked with, from Kevin Costner, Sean Penn, Cusack, Better Off Dead. Oh man.
Yep.
And like I said, still to this day, not jaded, still working, and still, one of the, like I always say, one of the hardest working actresses in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And then we just get together and goof around, and we just, we have like fart jokes,
Yes. So I'm sure we'll see Amanda again on here as well, and so yes. So far, so good.
Yep.
Great job.
It's been great, Mr. Seth.
Yes, it has, and we've got some unbelievable guests coming up
Yes, we do.
for the second half of our season 1, and you guys are in for such a treat. Such a treat.
I'm so grateful. And first, I just want to say I'm so grateful for Mr. Seth. Seriously, I want to thank you for everything you're doing. Because seriously, I couldn't do this without you. We're partners in crime,
Yeah.
and you work so hard.
Aw.
But I want you to know that I love you to death, and
Love
I
you
know
too,
that,
baby.
I appreciate you, and I'm so excited to do this. I have so much passion. I want to do more. Like I said, you brought, great people. Our team are like our friends,
Yes.
and it's always fun. We have other projects that we're putting together,
Yes, we
TV and
do.
film, and
Yep.
our merchandise, and
Yeah.
now we have to tell them about what we just opened up.
The store.
Yes.
Yeah. The official Apollonia Store is open. You can get some great t-shirts, mugs, sweatshirts, and that's just the beginning. Masks, those are just the beginning. You can reach the store by either going to apolloniakotero.com, or you can go directly to the store at apolloniakotero.store. So apolloniakotero.store, you can go and you can get some great stuff, and we're going to be constantly adding merch, and some of the stuff we have in store, you fans are just gonna go crazy. Go crazy.
Yeah. Like the one idea that we came up with are art pieces, like lithos, photographs of me, large scale. And we have, one of our favorite photographer friends that, we're collaborating with. So, and of course, we mentioned, cosmetics and all that fun stuff. But if there's anything that you'd like to see, let us know. Any products, I don't know, hair products or caps.
Yeah. It's
Let
all
us know.
coming.
Yeah, long sleeve. Women want long sleeve,
Yeah.
T-shirts.
Yeah, we're going to do some long sleeve shirts and some other things. So 8 down, 8 to go for season 1. And then we're already planning for season 2.
Exactly.
So
here we go.
here we go.
Let's go. Thank you so much for your love and support. I am Apollonia Kotero, Apollonia Studio 6,
Yes.
and my partner, Mr. Seth.
I want to thank you all. This has been rewarding, unbelievable experience thus far. And we can't wait for you to see all of the great visits we have in store for you. So subscribe, like, share, tell your friends, tell your family.
Questions.
Yeah, send questions. We want to continue getting subscriptions up and, bringing you great guests and, showing some people probably in a more comfortable than they've ever been because they're talking to family. So
Yep. It's fun.
it's fun. So
Thank you.
all right. We love you.
We love you.
We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.